I think we need to have a discussion about whether we put Ole Miss and Bama in the top of the conference or whether we... Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Right Bench Podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm James.
This will be Season 3, Episode 1, the inaugural episode of Season 3. I'm so excited. James is so excited. If you haven't seen the trailer, then go check that out because we talked about how we're going to be set up this season and what changes we made. Then come back here and listen to this banger episode. So, yeah, what do you got, James?
Yeah, for sure. Go check out the trailer. Season 3 is officially here. If you can already tell, there are a bunch of changes in the room, in the setup, and in the lighting, and in the camera. Everything has changed, and everything's a lot better. So we're excited to be here.
Yeah, before we start, I want to say please like and subscribe. Helps us, helps you figure out when we post.
Mm-hmm.
And also go check out our channels.
James on the mic for me.
As part of the Right Bench family, I'm Talkin Tigers. I do a podcast with LSU. He does a channel with the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So go check that out if you're interested. And what was the last thing I was going to say? Oh, yeah. And if you want an audio-only version, we're on Spotify. And go check out our TikTok and Instagram as well. All right.
And if you're listening on Spotify right now, shout out to you, for sure.
Yeah, but you won't be able to see the tier list. Or get the background music for a recent rundown. But anyway, let's start it, huh?
Let's kick right into it. Let's get it. Can I transition into our first team on our tier list, the one we're going to be breaking down? Let me look through our tier. Can we look through our tier list first?
Yeah, you got it.
So the first tier that we have up there, I'm not sure if y'all can see it, but I'll break it down.
You can.
The first is top of the conference. These are just the big dogs. Could win the conference, so could have a chance. Has to make a big run is kind of your C tier, and then doesn't really have a chance. And then our last tier is Vanderbilt.
Okay, I think we start with Vanderbilt.
So do we start with Vanderbilt?
We'd have to go in order.
All right, let's start with Vanderbilt. We all know where they're going. They're going in the category that's for them.
When I was making this tier list, I thought, man, all these teams are like good teams. These are 15 real good football teams that have a chance to win some real games this year. Then there's Vanderbilt. And so none of those teams I thought really had justice in being in the same tier as Vanderbilt, so we made the Vanderbilt tier.
Yeah, there's really not much to say about Vanderbilt. They might win 2 games,
maybe.
Genuinely. That is like a good season for them. If they win an SEC game, that is a successful season for them.
Yep.
So, not much to say about Vanderbilt. They're just...
Yeah, absolutely. They're terrible.
They're still a little brother in the SEC.
I think let's start with the top of the conference. I think I want to go top to bottom.
Okay.
So, I want to nominate somebody for top of the conference real quick. I want to nominate Georgia.
Yeah, I think for sure.
So, Georgia, Carson Beck, Kirby Smart. They got in Trevor Etienne, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Yeah, Trevor Etienne from
Trevor
Florida.
Etienne. Mm-hmm.
So that's just, I don't know how they pulled that off. That's just crazy. So they're going to be a dog this year, powerhouse, the Bulldogs. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Carson Beck, like he said, is a Heisman contender. He's probably the most accurate quarterback in the nation right now, truly. He fits into the Georgia system like a glove. And the Trevor Etienne transfer from Florida was one of the best transfer pickups of the entire offseason last year. So for them having an elite running back, having an elite quarterback, and still having elite receivers, and their offensive line has 4 all-SEC offensive line returning. Their offensive line is going to be stacked. Their entire offense is going to be amazing. And their defense kept so much. They didn't lose much to the draft in the offseason. And Georgia is truly going to be... They're going to contend again for a national title, and they're going to get back in the playoff for sure.
Yeah, call me crazy, but I think Carson Beck's like a system quarterback. I don't think he's that good. I think he's basically Brock Purdy.
I don't hate him, but he fits in the Georgia system perfectly.
Yeah.
So it's like,
no fault to him, but I don't think he's a system quarterback.
Yeah, that's a hot take for sure. A lot of people are gonna be mad at you for that one because Carson Beck's
he's good, but he's not the best. Anyway, he's not gonna win the Heisman. So what do you think for the second top of the conference team? There's one answer.
Top of the conference for me. I do believe that there's only one answer. It's Texas.
Yes.
Texas, in my opinion, is a team that can contend for a national title. I believe they have the best quarterback in the nation in Quinn Ewers.
And then if he gets hurt, they're the best backup in the nation.
Exactly.
They probably actually know that. But.
No, they truly probably have the best quarterback duo in the SEC. They might have the best in the nation. C.J. Baxter will be, I believe, the starting running back in place of Jonathan Brooks. They have produced running back after running back. It's been Bijan, Jonathan Brooks, and now it's going to be C.J. Baxter. They're going to be able to run the ball well. Their offensive line is amazing. And their defense, they filled so many gaps in the offseason. They are truly, in my opinion, they're the most lethal, in my opinion, in the SEC besides Georgia. Truly.
Yeah, go draft, what's his name that you just said?
Jonathan Brooks.
Sorry, I had him. Go draft Jonathan Brooks in fantasy.
Great
or trade for him for a piece of belly button length because he's
put him on your IR.
Yeah,
because he's gonna be out for the first 4 weeks. But
yeah, this team lost a lot to the draft. They lost Byron Murphy. They lost Worthy. They lost what's the other receiver? Xavier Worthy.
It was,
Jonathan Brooks. They lost another receiver.
It was.
Yes, they did.
Oh, it's a dude
Mitchell.
for the Colts.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So they lost those guys to the draft. They kept Quinn Ewers though. That was the big one. I expect them to be good. Everyone expects them to make the college football playoff for sure.
And their biggest pickup, in my opinion, was their receiver. They got Isaiah Bond in the offseason, who was probably the best receiver in the portal last year from Bama. And that was just an amazing pickup. Their offense is going to be, it might be the best offense in the SEC. It might be better than Georgia's. And they're just,
could be.
They're truly just amazing.
With Trevor Etienne, that's going to be interesting. Anyway.
I think this is the only two teams.
Okay, I think we need to have a discussion. I think we need to have a discussion about whether we put Ole Miss and Bama in the top of the conference or whether we could win conference. Because I think could win conference is going to be like a team like LSU or somebody that like could win, but like whereas if Ole Miss or Alabama went out and won the conference, you wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm surprised by that." You would say, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
Which is why I think we should go top of the conference.
I think that we can go with one team at top of the conference. I don't think that I can put the other one.
But they're so equal. Like they're so.
I don't think I can. I think I can put Ole Miss there.
Ole Miss
don't think I can put Alabama there.
We just don't know anything about Alabama.
Which we'll talk about later. But I am cool putting Ole Miss there. We'll start there. So Ole Miss we're going to put in the top of the conference with Texas, with Georgia.
I think if you put Ole Miss, you put Alabama.
Okay, well let's talk about Ole Miss first. So the main thing about them, they have Jackson Dart returning. Their offense is truly elite. Like it is scary how good they are going to be.
Yeah,
Jackson
absolutely.
Dart is a Heisman contender this year. Caden Priestcorn is one of the best tight ends in the nation, and their wide receiver depth is amazing. The one problem about Ole Miss is they lost Quinshawn Judkins, who's one of the best running backs in the nation, going to Ohio State. That is the biggest miss, in my opinion, for Ole Miss this offseason. They did everything right, but they couldn't keep Judkins. Their defense is going to be elite as well. Ole Miss is a team that can genuinely contend for a national title this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I said it at the end of the season last season. If you know, you know. Ole Miss is going to be scary this year with Jackson Dart coming back. That was the big thing. They lost a couple guys, but they did gain guys that have so much talent coming back. This is going to be a team that offense is genuinely the best in the country. I think this is the best offense in the country. Mm-hmm. There's obviously an argument you can make for many other teams, but I think this is the best offense in the country. Their defense is going to be fine. This is a really good football team.
Okay, so if we want to get back to what we were saying, Alabama for me is the 4th-ranked team in the SEC, if I had to pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
it's close.
I don't know if we can put him top of the conference.
But
this is your decision. I think I'm going to leave this decision up to you.
Okay, Kalen DeBoer, do you think he's a bad coach?
No, I think he's a great coach.
He's a great coach. Do you think Jalen Milroe's a bad quarterback? I think he's the best player in college football.
Wow.
At least the best player. At least the best quarterback. This guy's going to be amazing. Right. This guy will win the Heisman. Jalen Milroe is going to win the Heisman. So I think with those two things, all the other weapons they have, all the other guys, I don't think they lost everybody. They lost some guys with the coaching change. Mm-hmm. But it's not like they got a bad coach. It's not like Nick Saban went somewhere else. So they had nowhere to follow. So yeah, they're going to stay. I think we're going to Alabama top of the conference.
So I agree. We're gonna put Bama at the top of the conference. First of all, because they're Alabama. They're always going to be good. I think the biggest question, like we were saying, is Kalen DeBoer is truly, we just don't know how he's going to fit in this Alabama system. Last year he had Michael Penix, right? Or sorry, how Jalen Milroe is going to fit in the Kalen DeBoer system. Last year he had Michael Penix. Michael Penix was not really a scrambler. He wasn't a throw on the run guy. He was not like Jalen Milroe. He liked to sit in the pocket. He had 3 elite receivers. That is not what Jalen Milroe has. Jalen Milroe is a guy who's going to get on his feet. He's going to run. He's going to get outside the pocket. He doesn't have great receivers this year. He's going to have to make throws on the run. He's going to have to make situations outside of the pocket. And that's something that I am a little nervous about because that's not Kalen DeBoer's system. That's not how he likes to run an offense. So I think Alabama's top of the conference just base skill-wise. Truly, they're talented. But I don't think that Alabama can win the national title this year. I don't think that there's a chance that they even get a top 8 seed, in my opinion. But their O-line is still shaky. They have a bunch of problems, in my opinion. And it just depends on how Milroe fits into the system.
I think DeBoer will do what most coaches do, is take his players and form a new system around those players.
Maybe.
And create a new system where Michael Penix, had his system, it worked. Now you move to Jalen Milroe's system at running plays. Do that. And let me tell you, LSU, if you don't put a quarterback spot on Jalen Milroe again, I'm switching fandom. I'm serious. Put a QB spot on Jalen Milroe. Everyone else did it except you. He ran for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards or something like that.
Dang.
Like it was crazy.
He's calling you out, LSU football.
LSU.
If you're listening, he's calling you out. By the way.
Right.
So
all right. Anyway, I think this is where we hit a drop off. Absolutely too. teams? Oh, I'm not going to point them out, but who do you think should be first and could win the conference?
So, in my opinion, the first team and the fifth-ranked team in the SEC for me is the Missouri Tigers. Now, that's going to get a lot of hate. People say they are overrated. I believe that they have the best offense in the SEC.
It's about their defense.
Exactly, it's about their defense. I think they have the best offense in the SEC. You were saying that you believe it's Ole Miss, which is a total valid opinion. I believe it's Missouri. First of all, let's look at their receivers. Luther Burden is genuinely he's the best receiver in the SEC. He's probably the second best receiver in the nation right now, and he's going to be a top 20 pick for sure.
Behind who?
Travis Hunter, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
But they also get Brady Cook back, who was one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC last year under Eli Drinkwitz. This Missouri offense is truly amazing. I don't think that Blaine Baker I don't think it's going to be a problem with him leaving. I think Missouri is still one of the best offenses. It's just the defense. That is the problem, and they lost Cody Schrader, their running back. But I think Missouri is the best offense in the SEC, in my opinion, and I think they could.
Well, I never said you could put him there.
Oh, okay.
No, we're putting it there.
All right.
Brady Cook's gonna cook. That's all you're ready to know.
Brady Cook's gonna cook. Yep.
So I think we can move on to the next team, which I will nominate LSU.
I agree. I will go with LSU.
We'll go with LSU.
We'll go with the next.
Obviously, we're not gonna harp too hard on LSU. They're our favorite, but you got the new look defense. You got a lot of guys returning, a couple of new names that could really make big impacts on probably one of the worst defenses, definitely one of the worst defenses in the country last year. And you got Nussmeier, who's coming off being a backup for the last 3 years, redshirt junior now. He's going to be really good for us, but it's just all about his decision making. And then the receivers in the O line and the running back, are going to be great. So LSU's going to be a good football team this year. How good? We don't know.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't think the problem for LSU this year is going to be the defense like last year. I think the defense is going to be amazing. I truly believe that. And maybe that's a hot take, and I think they're going to be one of the best defenses in the SEC. They have the talent to do it. They just needed the coaching style, and they brought back some of the best coaches at what they do. They got Bo Davis, who's one of the greatest defensive line college coaches of all time, and then they brought back Corey Raymond, who is the founder of DBU. He is the founder of creating all these DBs. I think LSU's defense is nothing to worry about. I think this season truly relies on Garrett Nussmeier. It truly rests on his shoulders because he's going to have he's probably going to have the best offensive line in the SEC this year. LSU genuinely has the best offensive line, probably, maybe behind Georgia. But Garrett Nussmeier,
LSU's
true. That's what I'm saying.
Top five, if not the best.
They might be the best in the nation.
No, they are the best in the nation.
So Garrett Nussmeier has nothing to worry about from his left side, from his right. He has nothing to worry about there. His receivers are going to back him up. His receivers are always going to be good at LSU. It all rests on Garrett Nussmeier. If he makes bad decisions and if he's not smart in the pocket, the season can go downhill very, very quick for LSU.
Our corners and our D line are kind of shaky. But
anyway,
the safeties, linebackers are all good. So, I think we have one more team here.
Ooh, maybe.
Definitely one.
Maybe.
It's Tennessee. Tennessee's going in this.
I could put two.
Tennessee is going in this
category. Tennessee for sure.
I believe this will be the last team, but
I don't know much about Tennessee, but I'll let you go first.
Nico, I don't know much about him either. Nico, I'm not going to try.
Lama Lavea.
Okay.
That's
Show off.
definitely not how you say
it's definitely not how you say his name. So he's a physical specimen. If you haven't seen him, go do it. He's a physical specimen. Kind of relatable to Joe Milton. He's just crazy. He can either be the best quarterback, the next Cam Newton, like that, or he'll be good because there's no way he's bad. He can just run through people. Like he's just so good. He's so big, and he's going to really athletic specimen. He's going to lead this team. I know they got good guys around him. Don't know much about it, but this is going to be a good SEC team.
Yeah, so Nico I, which we'll just call him Nico I for now, he truly reminds me of a version of Cam Newton and Josh Allen meshed together. Truly. Like that, he is the most athletic quarterback in the SEC. Like, he is amazing. He's coming off an amazing bowl game. And Squirrel Wright's going to be their number one receiver, which is one of the craziest names in the SEC. White Squirrel. He had a lot of hype in his freshman year last year. He's coming in as a sophomore. He's definitely going to be a guy that steps up. And then they have maybe the number one overall pick in James Pierce Jr. coming off their edge. He is the best defensive player in football right now. So Tennessee's going to have a good defense. I think it relies on Nico I for sure.
Well, this man, James Pierce Jr. you talk about, he won't be a number one pick or the number two pick because those go to Will Campbell and Emory Jones.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I have a team that could go here, but I don't. Now that I'm really thinking about it, maybe not.
I think we have no drop off here. These are all top 10 level teams.
Has to make a big run.
We have 7 top 10 level teams that could win the conference. If they win the conference, you say, oh, okay, right? Maybe for the bottom 3, you say, oh, I'm a little surprised. But you wouldn't say, oh, this is crazy, which is what these next few will be. Has to make a big run. If this team wins the conference, something crazy happens.
Okay, so I'm going to nominate probably a different team than you're going to nominate to go number 1 in this.
Well, it's no particular order.
Okay, I think the first one that I want to cover is Texas A&M. I believe that Texas A&M goes here. I think they are the best team in this category. New coach Mike Elko's coming in, kind of losing a lot in a way, and coming into a kind of sad fan base in Texas A&M right now. It was very rough last year, so I think anything better than last year is going to put a lot of smiles on Texas A&M's faces. I don't think that they can win the conference. I don't think that they can get into the 12-team playoff. I don't think they're good enough yet. But in my opinion, the team's success all relies on the quarterback again. It's Connor Weigman. He has been... Is that how you say his name? Weigman? Weigman.
Connor.
It really depends on him, and there's not much I know about Texas A&M to say a lot on him. But I believe that they're kind of a middle-of-the-pack team, and Mike Elko is going to have to figure something out for sure.
Yeah, they've got a high ceiling, definitely. Mike Elko's a good coach.
For sure.
In latest Talkin Tigers episode, I had LSU losing to Texas A&M.
Oof.
So, but I had them beating Bama, so it's fine. Go listen to the episode.
We're not. I'll listen to the episode. I haven't listened to it yet.
The next team is going to be Oklahoma going in this spot.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Is their coach still that defensive coordinator dude?
It is.
Okay, I'll forget his name. Defensive coordinator dude. He's a fine coach. I mean, this team's going to have offensive talent all the time. But it's going to be rough sledding in the SEC first year. They're going to see what real defenses look like. And I think they're going to have some trouble. But if their offense comes out absolutely scorching and their defense is somewhat okay, they could come out and make a run, and I wouldn't think I'd be too surprised.
This is probably the team I know the least about in the SEC this year. I don't know much about Oklahoma. Their season is pretty unknown. They do lose Dylan Gabriel, who is going to be probably a top 10 quarterback in football this year for sure. He's a Heisman contender at Oregon. But they're going to put all on the shoulders of Jackson Arnold, who was a former 5-star. He's going to have to take the reins for OU. They're not going to win the conference. They're not going to get in the 12-team playoff. They're going to be okay, and they're going to put some scares for teams on the road. But I don't think that OU is a team that can come into the SEC like Texas and dominate.
Yeah, Jackson Arnold is a good player, and Venables is his name, Brett Venables. If you were wondering, I'm sure you all were. So let's go to the next one, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a different opinion.
This is a really deep drop off.
Yeah.
It's a pretty deep drop off coming here.
No, I'd say that one more team goes in this category.
Who?
I put Kentucky in this category.
I could convince me.
So, can I talk about Kentucky before we put him in there?
Yeah, convince me.
Brock Vandegrift's going to be the starter. He is the former Georgia transfer, right? I'm trying to explain to you, not to them. So, he's a former Georgia transfer. Redshirt guy. Last year he started, was not great. Relies on his shoulders. Not really much about Kentucky. I know they're fast, and I know they're a team that can scare people. So I believe that if they get hot and they win a couple games in a row, I think that there's a chance that they can make a run.
So you think if they played Texas A&M right now, you think they have a chance to win?
Yeah, yes, especially if it's at UK. I definitely think there's a chance that they could win that game for sure.
All right, these next teams are not going to win the SEC.
No, they don't have a chance.
But I mean, like, if everything goes absolutely perfectly, then I mean, I guess they can have a chance. That doesn't really have a chance. They're not Vanderbilt, right? There's like 1% to 2% chance they win, not 0 like Vanderbilt. So like, they're good college football teams compared to Vanderbilt not being good college football.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to. Can we go to Auburn next? Let's go to Auburn.
Go to Auburn.
Auburn does not really have a chance. You can go ahead and talk about it first.
Well, I don't know much about Auburn. They're just not a good football team. None of these teams are good football teams.
No.
They're all going to get scorched in the SEC.
They're not.
Hugh Freeze is not a good coach. This I don't even know who their quarterback is. He's not good. Probably not good, and Auburn's not good.
So I think Auburn. The thing with them, they're looking towards the future. This is not a season that they can genuinely go win a national title. They know that. Their fan base knows that, and Hugh Freeze knows that. I'm gonna say Mike Elko. Hugh Freeze knows that as well. He's looking towards the future. He had a top 10 draft class or recruiting class in 2024. Auburn is a team that I think will be scary in the next 5 years, but right now they don't really have a chance to win, and I think everybody knows that.
Yeah, let's go to South Carolina next.
Okay, South Carolina.
This team really showed promise
They did.
a few years ago. I think 3 years and 2 years ago with Leggett, with Rattler.
Mm-hmm.
They looked good, but last year they just hit a wall.
Mm-hmm.
They plummeted to 4-8, and so now they got to build it back up. And so that'll take time, and this team will go here for this year, but in the next couple of years, watch out.
I believe that their quarterback play is going to be a first-year starter. Snellers, I can't remember his name exactly. But
Sellers.
He's a guy who did not sit behind Rattler. He doesn't really have anything to come into. He's a first-year starting quarterback. So I think that South Carolina has a chance to be one of the worst teams in the SEC. They don't really show much promise for me. They lost a lot to the draft. They lost a lot in transfers. South Carolina is a team that for sure does not have a chance, and I think will be the second worst team in the SEC, truly. They just don't really have anything to look forward to rely on. So, yeah, there's just not much to say about SC.
Yeah, let's go to Mississippi State.
Oh, yeah. I'll be honest.
Okay,
you go first, yeah.
Jeff Lebby is their third coach in 3 seasons. R.I.P. Mike Leach. But this team has really gone nowhere since a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to revive this offense and do something to, like, spark themselves, but it's not going to happen. Like, they're going against 2 high-level defenses and teams in general to really spark that. I think they need to just tear down and rebuild because the way this program is going is not good.
So, I see a lot of promise in Mississippi State this year. I'm excited for Blake Shapen, who is the Baylor transfer. I think Jeff Lebby was the best hire that they could have made. He was truly, I think he was the best guy on the market. He's a young guy who can come into Starkville and I think change kind of the culture from what Mike Leach was doing. Rest in peace. But Mike Leach was he didn't run a system that didn't really benefit the quarterbacks that were there. So I think Blake Shapen coming into a new system, I think that Mississippi State, especially if you're playing in Starkville with the Cowbells, I think that there is a chance that they can not shock some teams, but play it close with a lot of big names this year. So I don't think they win a bunch of games, but I think they're close in a bunch of games. That would be my prediction. Let's go to Florida next.
Florida, fire Billy Napier. This team stinks. They will stink the entire year.
This team is so
Billy
bad.
Napier is the worst hire they could have ever made. He's horrible. This team is horrible. Next team.
Yeah, this team has nothing to look forward to. That's what's so sad about it. And Florida's supposed to be one of the biggest markets. They don't really have that good of a recruiting class. Like, Florida is they're not looking at anything. It's truly sad. Billy Napier does need to be fired. Let's move on to the next team. Let's go to Arkansas. The last team on here, they're going to go in, doesn't really have a chance.
Sorry, you can
this is the full tier list, if you want to talk about Arkansas first.
Yeah, Sam Pittman, I think, is a good coach. He's not the worst guy out there like Billy Napier is, but his job's on the line now because his teams haven't been good. They lost KJ Jefferson. He was really good, I thought. And this team just doesn't have much talent for an SEC standards, and so they're going to have some trouble this year. But I do wish the best to this Arkansas team and Sam Pittman.
Yeah, so you had a guy in KJ Jefferson for, I believe it was 4 years. He eventually he's now at UCF in his 5th year in college football. He's a guy who you've been able to rely on to be decent at, but he wanted more, obviously. And I don't know if UCF was the right school to go to. They are kind of scary this year. But Arkansas is a team that, again, it's very similar to Florida, very similar to SC. They don't have anything to look forward to. And they're not a team that's going to be able to run the ball well. They don't have a good offensive line. I think this Arkansas team will also be one of the worst teams in the SEC, probably the 3rd worst, in my opinion. It's kind of sad for their fall from grace with KJ Jefferson a couple years ago. It's sad, for sure.
Yeah, so that'll do it. If we, we're obviously
that's a good list. I don't think there's anything I would change.
I think it's good. The only thing that coming into this, the only thing that I would have said is Kentucky lower, but that's it. I like this
Kentucky
a lot.
There.
I'm fine with Kentucky being there. I like this a lot. And obviously we're going to continue to improve with these tier lists. Next year, with the NFL tier list, where we will be able to give you much more on stuff because we should know much more about these NFL teams because it's the same every year, right? It's not as much turnover. So we definitely will be able to give you some good content on the NFL next week, and then we'll go college football again, probably something with players, and then MLB. So that'll do it. Well, no, that'll do it for this segment, this tier list.
It's a good segment.
So let's move in. James will keep this up there for y'all.
Yeah,
the rest
you
of the
want to look at it?
So yeah, let's move on to a recent rundown, which is basically where I'm going to give y'all a little taste of what happened over the last week, just because we don't do full segments on it. So, just want to say we are recording this on Friday, and it's coming out on Saturday, so if we missed something that happened like Friday night, cry me a river, I don't really care, sorry.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know in the comments down below, guys. Alright, anyway, cue the music. Alright, Dylan Cruz made his debut this week. In his first game, he went over 3 with a walk. In his second game, he had his first hit, and in his third game, he had his first homer. I believe that's against the Yankees. Jacoby Brissett was named the starting quarterback for the Patriots over Drake May. Interesting decision, but I get it.
I love the decision, personally.
Aaron Judge, with just 50 homers, he's just an alien. Shohei Ohtani eclipses the 40-40 club on a walk-off grand slam. Could he get 50-50? Steph Curry signed a one-year, $62.6 million extension. He's under contract through 2027. That's kind of late if you ask me. It's kind of old.
If you're following the Right Bench Podcast Instagram, this was reposted last night about Steph Curry and the money he is going to make over the next couple years is insane. Him, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James will now be the 3 players ever to make over $500 million in their career. That is insane to think about, but highly deserved.
CeeDee Lamb signs a 4-year, $136 million deal. Finally, the Cowboys drama is almost over, and he had a $38 million signing bonus, okay? And Brendan Ayuk and the 49ers agreed to a 4-year, $120 million extension. He will not be traded. Everyone thought he would.
That surprised me, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into our next segment. You can lead us into it.
Yep, fantasy do's and don'ts. We're going to tell you 2 guys you think you should draft, 2 guys we think you shouldn't draft. James, start us off.
We know that your fantasy leagues are coming up right now, so I want to break you down with my amazing takes, which I'm going to win every single league this year. I'm in 3 different leagues, 2 with him.
1 with me.
Yeah, 2.
1.
1 with you, sorry. 1 with him. Gonna beat him. I'm gonna win all 3 leagues, so definitely listen to me.
I'm projected to beat you by 10 points.
I'm gonna go with my dues first. I think my number 1 due draft around in the 3rd to 4th round is Malik Neighbors. This is a guy who I've been high on since we've watched him at LSU. So I think Malik Neighbors, the only problem that people are saying with him is Daniel Jones.
It's a big problem.
You have to remember that Daniel Jones 2 years ago, led this Giants team to a playoff.
Win.
To a playoff game. Playoff win. They won?
Yes,
they won, Charlie?
Yes.
They won. Daniel Jones won a playoff game 2 years ago. Under the exact same head coach, under the exact same offensive line. Nothing really changed besides Saquon, but Saquon didn't do any of the blocking, right? So, the biggest point in this is what I'm saying is I think with an elite wide receiver, who else are they going to throw to, first of all? Like, let's be real here. Wan'Dale Robertson? No. Robinson. It's going to be Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is going to be the guy, in my opinion, for the Giants this year. So he is a guy who, I don't even care if you draft him into the 3rd round, pick him up, for sure.
I think he's kind of high on value, but that's just me. Anyway, my first due will be Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills. He's the best ball catcher in Buffalo with Josh Allen throwing the ball. Ever heard of him? No. And if you can't get Sam Laporta, you can't get Travis Kelce. This guy's your guy. He had huge red zone, a lot of red zone targets last year, a lot of touchdowns. That'll just be extended throughout the entire field now. He'll be the number 1 target in most plays. So target Dalton Kincaid late in drafts.
I think Kincaid is genuinely a better tight end this year in fantasy than Sam Laporta, in my opinion.
Sam Laporta's the best tight end in fantasy, so that's not possible.
I think Kelsey's the number 1, and I believe that Kincaid's number 2. I think Kincaid is a guy who you target if he's even in the 6th round still, you pick him up for sure. So I like that pick for sure. And then I have a later round here. He's going right now in round 10 to 11 of fantasy drafts.
It's all about value.
It's the running back for the Bengals. He is now named the number 1 running back. It will be Chase Brown. He is the young guy in Cincinnati right now. They lost Joe Mixon in the offseason. They brought in Zach Moss. But Zach Moss is an aging veteran. He's a great blocker for Burrow. I think that's why they mainly brought him in. But in fantasy, you want a pass catcher, running back, and you want a guy who picks up a lot of yardage. So I think the thing with Chase Brown, he's a big play waiting to happen, and he picks up a lot of catches right out of the backfield. I think Chase Brown is a great spot where he is right now, going in round 10, round 11. If you can pick him up to be your first guy off the bench, I love that for sure. I picked him as my first guy off the bench. So.
Okay, well, I picked James Conner first guy off the bench.
Exactly.
He was way better.
Oh, hey, I'm going to shout this out right now, and if this happens in I'm going to say week 9.
It's not gonna happen.
I'm going to say in week 9, Trey Benson, who is the rookie running back for Arizona right now from Florida State, is going to take James Conner's job.
Not because injured. You think he's just going to take his job?
He's going to take his job either because he's injured or because he's better.
Injured doesn't count.
If he gets injured, then he's still going to be the starter after James Conner comes back.
No, he's not. You're wrong.
Just wait.
You're so egregiously wrong. It's not even funny. Anyway, my due, speak of the devil, Kyler Murray. People forget this guy was a Pro Bowl level quarterback before injuries happened. Now he's healthy with really adequate weapons in Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner, Trey Benson, and Trey McBride. So he's got big rushing upside. This guy's big for your fantasy league if you can't get one of the top guys.
The biggest thing in fantasy for quarterbacks is rushing upside. Now in fantasy, it's the biggest thing. So guys like Jaden Daniels, guys like Kyler Murray, even guys like Josh Allen who
doesn't have any weapons, so he's going to run the ball.
So truly, those are guys who you need to target for sure because rushing upside in fantasy is the biggest thing. So let's move into our don'ts. I will go into my first don't. It's going to be Kyren Williams. Right now, he's going as the 5th, 6th running back off the board in the end of round 2. Kyren Williams had an amazing year last year for fantasy. Genuinely. He was a guy who was picked up the waivers. He was not drafted. And he became one of the best running backs in football last year. He's too high, in my opinion. He's too high. You don't know if he's going to, build off of the season last year. Maybe he does. Maybe he's the best running back in football again. But it's a lot of unknowns right now in LA, and I don't think Kyren Williams, from where he's going, if you can get him in the 4th, 5th round, that is fine. It's not going to happen. But I'm totally fine with you taking him there. Do not take him in round 2.
Yeah, that's where he's going. James, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
How many games did Anthony Richardson play in his career?
I believe he played 2?
4. The answer's
4. Okay.
Anyway, sorry, you're casual.
Okay, my bad. I was close.
Do you know how many quarterbacks are ranked above him?
6?
4.
4.
He's the QB5. He's played 4 games.
Wow.
This guy hasn't proven anything. He was good. He was good in 4 games. Was he the QB5? No. Just because he's got talent. He's got the talent. But taking him as a 5th top quarterback over guys like C.J. Stroud, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray is just not right. Take those guys over Anthony Richardson all day long.
I don't hate that take. I think the one reason is just because he was so good in those 4 games last year. Once again, his rushing upside, his big play accuracy. I think that's the reason he's going so high, but I wouldn't take him that high, like Charlie said. I'm going to go to my second don't. It's going to be Stephon Diggs. This is a pretty easy one for me. In my opinion, he's the 3rd best Texans receiver on the roster at the moment from where they are in their careers. C.J. Stroud really loved Tank Dell last year. He loved Nico Collins, but Nico Collins is the number 1 receiver. And he loved Tank Dell, who was a rookie last year, who put up amazing stats. They've now cut Noah Brown, which will fill up time for the young guy John Mechie. I don't think that Diggs shines in this offense. I think he will be decent, and I think it will be very hard to guard this 3 receiver set. But I don't think that Diggs is going to put up the fantasy performances that he has in the past. He's not a guy that you draft. He's going right now around round 8. Round 9, do not take him there.
Yeah, I got another question for you.
Go ahead. Hit me.
I think, who is the last receiver to win the Triple Crown?
Cooper Kupp.
I think that's right. Yeah,
it is Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown.
He
won the Triple Crown 2 years ago.
Yep.
He was hurt last year, and Puka Nacua shined, and it was great. But now Cooper Kupp's back healthy.
Love this pick.
Puka Nacua has to share reps with Cooper Kupp. And if you have to use a 2nd round pick on him, you can take Garrett Wilson, you can take Devontae Adams instead. Those are 2 way better picks than Puka Nacua. Do not take Puka Nacua at his current value.
Love it. I agree. I don't think Puka's really... He's not going to be the number 1 receiver for the Rams this year. He's getting drafted over the number 1 receiver for the Rams. I think they'll be co-number 1s. Okay, maybe. Puka's not... Where he's going right now in the first round, beginning of the second, is not a place you draft.
Devontae Adams does not have a co-number 1.
Now, I will say, if you have like a keeper or something in your league, like if you play a dynasty league, then you definitely should keep Puka Nacua, because you can get him for like a 10th round pick or whatever. Definitely keep him then. It just depends on where you're drafting him. That's the whole thing with all this.
All right, let's get into the best segment of the show, Dog of the Week.
Dog of the Week. Come on.
You start us off with your homer pick.
This is not a homer pick.
It's your power 4 pick.
Okay. They're not even. Oh, they are power 4.
You stupid.
Technically, yeah. Okay, so my dog of the week is going to be Kyle Efford. He is the linebacker for Georgia Tech. I'm going to give you a second to go look him up while I am talking about him. Look him up on Safari. Look him up on Google. This guy leads the nation, and there was a lot of memes going around. First of all, Georgia Tech won this game 24-21. They beat the 10th ranked team in the country in Dublin, Ireland in week 0. He leads the nation in linebackerness. He looks like the prototypical linebacker. There is no guy in college football that looks more like a linebacker than this guy. Now, stats really weren't that great. This is all based on aura, in my opinion. So he had 1 solo tackle, and he had 9 assist tackles. 9 assist tackles is a lot. It led the team. So he was always there. He leads the nation in linebackerness. I'm going to keep saying that. Go look him up. I would never want to go toe-to-toe with him in an Oklahoma drill or anything. He is one of the scariest human beings I've ever seen. He's my dog of the week, just because he is a dog. He radiates dogness, let's say.
He needs someone to help tackling people, so...
Okay.
My dog of the week is going to be a duo, like James usually says. A duo.
Oh, okay.
I
thought his name was a duo.
No, so These are Montana State running backs by the name of Adam Jones.
Montana State.
Bro, the whole point of this freaking segment is to get small schools' performances up there. So
they're in the FCS.
Just like it doesn't matter. Like these guys went off. Adam Jones and either Scooter Humphrey. Scooter Humphrey. These guys combined for 307 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 8.6 yards per carry. Sorry. They led Montana State to a 35-31 win over New Mexico.
Great win, by the way.
FCS over FBS. So what a big win for Montana State.
Montana State did just win. Didn't they just win the Oh no, they lost in the championship of the FCS last year. They lost in the national championship.
DAWG's right here. And a dog, if you're a dog, if you're still listening right now, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're still listening, if you haven't already. And yeah, that'll do it for us here.
Again, go follow the TikTok, go follow the Instagram, and if you're listening on Spotify, go check it out on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, go check out the Spotify. Just go hit a quick follow right there. We genuinely appreciate it. And welcome everybody to season 3. We are super psyched to be here. This is our first episode. It's going to continue to get more and more fun as we get through the college football season, as we get through the NFL season. We are ready and we are excited. So we appreciate y'all for watching. Or listening.
See y'all next week for the NFL tier list and the inaugural NFL picks.
Oh, yeah.
See y'all in the next one. Peace.
Peace out, guys.